I really like HTC's design philosophy. I like what they did with the HTC One. In fact, it was their best-selling phone of 2013. It really stood out amongst all those plasticky phones out there. And now, the HTC One M8 is about to hit the market. Does it have enough oomph to lure in more customers? The HTC One M8 clearly draws inspiration from last year's design and has even more metal than before. The previous generation HTC One had a polycarbonate side, whereas the new one wraps one single piece of aluminium from all the sides till it meets the glass in the front. It's also much smoother and curves up nicely in a brushed metal look, unlike the matte finish on the previous generation. The M8 is much taller as well, and that's because of the larger 5-inch display on the front. The two stereo speakers take up the top and the bottom of the phone, and at the base of the phone is the micro USB port and the headphone jack. On the sides are the volume keys, the nano SIM slot, and there is also an expandable memory slot which can go up to 128 GB. Overall, the phone feels good in the hand and it feels the right weight for its size. The only problem that I see is that the power key is actually on the top, which might be a bit of a reach for many people. So there is a way around it. What HTC has done is, with its new Sense user interface, you can actually unlock the screen by various gestures. You can swipe to the left to get to your social feeds, swipe to the right to get to the home screen, swipe down to make a phone call through voice command, or swipe up simply to go back to your last open screen. Or you could even knock on the screen twice to unlock or lock the device. This is a feature we saw first on the LG G2. The new interface on the HTC M8 also adds a splash of color. It's still simplistic and feels more sophisticated than most of the other stock overlays. The blink feed for all your notifications is also something that social media addicts would love. Android KitKat feels great on the M8. The screen at Full HD resolution is bright and the colors are pleasing. What's better is when watching movies or playing games, the two front-firing speakers make your smartphone experience more immersive than any other smartphone. There is no other phone with better speakers, period. The other big difference is evident at the back of the phone. You can actually see two lenses here. One of them is a 4 megapixel ultra pixel sensor, just like the previous generation HTC One. The other sensor, actually what it does is when you take a photograph, it uses both the sensors, and I'm going to take one right now. And there you go. Now what you can see is I've just clicked a photograph. I'm going to go into the photograph right now. And that's me, and at the background you can see there is a little bird over there. Now that's in focus, I'm in focus. What I'm going to do is go into edit, and there are a couple of effects that come out here. First one over here, unfocus. I tap on unfocus, and what it does is it diffuses the background. You just saw what I did. The background is diffused completely. It's actually picked up the subject and diffuse the background. Now there are many other features like that you could use on this phone, and I think that really, even though it's not an extraordinary camera, and some people might actually find this feature a little gimmicky, the creative folks will really appreciate it. The camera does show an improvement over the previous generation. The phone comes with a new generation Snapdragon quad-core processor and 2 GB of RAM. The internal memory stands at 16 GB, but the good thing is that it's expandable. The M8 also improves on the battery life compared to the previous generation. It lasted me over 36 hours on a single charge with a good amount of gaming and browsing. The HTC One M8 is undoubtedly one of the best looking Android phones out there. It's got that sophisticated look and feel both on the hardware and on the software, something that would please a more mature taste. It improves on last year's phone on almost every front. And I'm actually looking forward to a mini version of this phone, which is expected pretty soon. The ports on the device are covered with flaps, and that's because the Z2, just like the Z1, can handle a little bit of water. The phone can be submerged. Now you won't buy the Samsung Galaxy S5 for its fingerprint scanner or the heart rate monitor. In fact, there is no wow factor to it except that it's got that IP certification